Fun, affordable and unique to the Dubai racing scene are just a few ways to describe the Emirates Entertainment Racing Club. As the syndicate approaches a half-century of winners since its inception, the class of 2014 and 15 looks as strong as it ever has been on paper. And we caught up with the brains behind it all, Justin Byrne, who talks us through his hopes for the coming season. Start by looking at Kilt Rock then, obviously a syndicate star back in the winners' enclosure last year.
Yeah, and although he never ran badly his first year onto Peter, we didn't want to try him onto Peter because in the back of our minds we were always a little bit worried that it wouldn't suit him. And that opens up everything for him because I've got no problem running him on a round course. I've got no problem, going on a flat course. I don't think the Jebel Ali Hill is the thing that does for him. I think he's a dirt horse. He's also won on turf, of course, at Meydan, but I think going on to the dirt at Meydan, we're all quite excited about that. I think it'd have been dirt for the last 5 years. We'd have had a lot of fun with him.
And at times last year you felt he was never right. Is he a different horse this year? How's he going?
We weren't sure if he got a problem with his breathing, and we were kind of worried about it. But I think the truth of the matter is he looks after himself. As horses get older, they get a bit smarter. And he has always been a notoriously lazy workhorse. He does as little as he possibly can, and he saves it all for the track. And I think that was the problem, is we kind of let him do his normal thing last year, and he was just a little bit slow starting. And then he wasn't 100%. He'd got a bit of mucus, and we got rid of that. And towards the back end of the season, you saw obviously the real Kilt Rock, and we were really unlucky with the Jebel Ali sprint with him. If he hadn't tried if the two of them hadn't run each other into the ground for 4.5 furlongs, I think we'd have won. He ran on turf and won, and I think we've got to be a little bit harder on him at the start of the season, and Doug's already mentioned that they're pushing him a little bit harder to try and get him ready for the first race meeting. But we might have to get him out twice, get him two quick races into him, and get him a bit more match fit, as they say.
In terms of stars last season, probably first night in terms of numbers of wins?
Yeah, I mean, we'd called him, I started the season by saying that he was a bit of a dog. Yeah. And that wasn't it was just he didn't put his best in. I thought he was better than he was. And when we brought him, I said to Doug I'd like to lead with him. And then the first race he ran in, Richie come out and said, the jockeys have told me this, told me that, told me the other. Run on him, and great, fair play to Richie Mullen, who I've got a lot of time for. He's a really good jock. He gets off and says, you may want to lead with him. And I sort of turned around to Doug and went, wish I'd have thought of that, But, we all three of us sort of said afterwards, yeah, let's lead with him. And, myself, Doug, Richie's advice, we got that in our heads, and it obviously really worked and showed a different horse for us. And I like the fact he only just wins. It makes it hard for the handicapper to stick him up 10-12 pound when he's won by, just ahead. Yeah. And he's still a bit of a lazy horse again on the track. He does just enough. I think he'll win again this season. If I was a betting man, I'd be looking at him first meet at Jebel Ali over the 7, and I'd certainly want to have him in my pick 6.
On that far rail?
I'm not bothered which rail he's on, but I think that rail's becoming more popular again. If they level the track out, then yeah, we'll go there.
Mark to Market, probably not the most frequent of winners, but he's an important horse for syndicates, isn't he? Because he basically runs every week.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a tough little horse. The way he runs, he needs a lot of luck in running and things to fall for him. And he has been unlucky a few times, but when he does, put it in, he picks up seconds and thirds. And when you've got a syndicate, coming back into the parade ring is quite important. Wins are great, but getting those horses coming back in. But the club syndicate members love him. I mean, he's just the popular horse. It's difficult to, if I suggested selling him, I'd be lynched. Yeah. So they do adore him, yeah.
Belgian Bill is obviously based with George Baker. He was due to come out last year, if memory serves.
Yeah, he was supposed to come out last year, but had a little bit of an injury. And we spoke about it, spoke to the other owner, Daniel, a really, really nice bloke, and sort of felt that if you look at Belgian Bill's career, he didn't really have a break. So we kind of then made the decision that with this little setback, he wouldn't have got here fit. It's really hard to come to the carnival and try and play catch up. It's not worth the trip to do that. So we gave him a break. He was desperately unlucky in the Royal Hunt Cup. Really gutted that day. And then since then he's been on, stood in the stalls one day and was unlucky. Then he ran a big race at Goodwood. His last race in Turkey was a bit disappointing, but it was to go in. He's not a soft ground horse, and you don't think you're going to go to Turkey to get soft ground. The worry that day was going on to turf and whether it would be rock solid and we'd have to pull him. But I I think he'll do well out here. I also would be interested because of the way he's built. I mean, he's a very strong animal. I mean, if you see him up close, he is impressive to look at. I think he'll handle the dirt, and I think we'll have a couple of runs on the turf and see how he's going, and we might just give him one of those runs on the dirt as well for a bit of fun. But it'd be good to have a carnival horse here, rated 104, 105, one win. You could be in the World Cup night.
An active buying policy in the off-season sees no less than 5 new faces in the ranks, all of whom, coincidentally, should be right at home on Maidan's newly installed dirt surface.
We had some nice horses last year, and we kind of felt all of them could win a race. But the ones we got rid of were the ones coming towards the end of their career and all. And of course, unfortunately, Mafgall passed away. And we've gone out and brought 5 new ones. And I think we've kept the 4 we'd have wanted to keep and brought 5 new ones that I think are very good.
Light Burst, obviously an American pedigree, he looks a really nice horse. You bought him from Ismail Mohammed at Yard, didn't have a great season. Was that part you're thinking?
Yeah, there's a couple of schools of thought. I mean, they didn't have a great season, but most of their horses arrived late. And a big thing I've always said to anybody when we buy horses and bring them here is don't expect too much the first year. You gotta remember Kilt Rock's first year was very average. You know, he had a lot of thirds and fourths, but a couple of seconds in there, but he didn't win in his first year. And then that summer off in Dubai, the sun, you see horses expand and grow and become more confident. And I really like the idea of that. Ty O'Shea rode him Maidan and got off and said to me, I believe that horse is in the sale. You want to buy that horse for the syndicate, he'll be a fun horse. He'll give you a lot of, excitement. I went and looked at the horse. He's a stunning looking animal. I mean, he looks like a hard spun, big colt. He's still a horse. I think there's improvement in him. I think going to the dirt will really, really help him. And I'm quite excited. I am probably more excited about him than any other horse this year.
And Shamel Nebraska, probably just about the highest rated horse in the yard. Carnival aspirations with him, what do you do before January?
Well, we'll definitely run him before January, but we'll hope he'll still be a carnival rated horse come January. I also, if you go back to the old Nadal Sheba days, the dirt races were a little bit weaker, and I think you'll get a few in off 98, because the Europeans will target the turf horses first and foremost. He's working really well. He's third down in Abu Dhabi in the listed race, looks good, and we'll probably target him, because I've got to sit down and have a talk with Doug first, but I think we'll look at the Abu Dhabi sort of 7 and 8 furlong listed races at the start of the season as runs for him. We might get him started on at Maidan, and Doug said he's working really well on the dirt, so we're quietly confident. And he's a pound higher than Kilt Rock, which is them two can challenge each other all year.
The famous warrior, he suffered a bit of an injury, didn't he, in the stables last year? Has he taken a while confidence-wise, and obviously down in the weights? Is that why you bought him?
Yeah, I mean, he's never had what you call a racing injury since I've had him. He's always been very straightforward, but he fell off the ramp at the start of last season, Doug told me, and that put him behind. And he was then 5 or 6 weeks behind everybody, and it was playing catch-up. We will give him a bit of time this year to sort of come around, get himself right. He'll probably be, again, 3-4 weeks into the season before he has his first run. But he is 5 or 6 pound lower in the handicap mark, and he's at that level now. If you watch Melvin's handicap marks, he'll jump down he has a couple of bad races. Melvin is fair once they start descending if they don't keep winning. Plus, he's front runners. We do well with them.
Mizbar, another new one, just one win from 25. How do you see him going?
I said earlier to the syndicate, there's about 4 or 5 things about him I really liked. I thought they ran him over the wrong trip. I know you have to do that in Dubai. That's not a dig at the stable. You have no choices in Dubai. But he was over the wrong trip. I thought he looked like a horse that could do with change of scenery and put a little bit of weight on. And yeah, he hasn't won a lot, but his races over a mile, he was always there or thereabouts. If you look over his last sort of 7-8 races in Dubai, he's never been beaten very far. So he's always like 5 or 6 lengths of the winner. Well, if you can improve those horses by a few lengths and you get a few pound off the handicapper, you've got a chance of nicking a race.
Finally, just a quick word. You've obviously run the syndicate. You've done it very successfully for many years. What do you get out of it, and what's your main hope of running a syndicate? It's not all about the wins, I would suggest.
No. I mean, we run it for fun. I'll be perfectly honest. Myself and Rebecca, who really runs the syndicate, I just deal with the horses. I'm not very good with people. So Rebecca looks after all the people. We do it to have fun because we like horse racing. And our logic was, if you remember back many years ago, Sir Edwin Landseer, when he won in the carnival, we could probably afford to have a couple of horses in training. Well, before we had a daughter, we could afford to have a couple of horses in training. I'm sure you'll back me up on that one.
Certainly.
School fees kind of put you under pressure there, but I think it was our school of thought that I'd rather have 25% of 8 horses than 2 whole horses. It is all about the fun. It's, we try and get that across to everybody in the syndicate. Anybody that ever wants to join the syndicate, the first thing I say is don't expect to make money. You don't make money in horse racing, but if you come racing, you'll have a lot of fun. You've seen us at the races. We enjoy ourselves. I think we're the only people that cheer in thirds and fourths and clap horses in when they've come second. We do it to have a good giggle. We've been successful. We've had over 40 winners. I think it's 7 or 8 winners winning. Normally I'm good at the statistics, but I keep getting confused whether it's 7 or 8 winners in our silks. We've had Aquino in America win, but never ran in our silks. But if we get 7 or 8 winners this season, we'll hit 50, and I think that'll be a good achievement in sort of 9 or 10 years in Dubai.
Win, lose or draw, the Emirates Entertainment Racing Club will cheer some more. And the clue is in the name. Entertainment. Exactly what racing should be.